quick break. Just to let you guys know, the book is out. My book is out and I'm super excited. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. It's on sale on Amazon, so you can now grab your copy. Do leave me a review on Amazon, comment, DM me if you have any questions, and let's keep on sharing our stories. And now, let's go back to our episode. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Alex Balgood. And today we have a very special guest. She's one of my best friends, Erika Hinojosa, aka Micah. Woo! Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Or maybe I should say, thank you for being here today.
Yes.
Since I'm going to be asking you all the questions.
Yes, that's correct. Today is going to be a little bit different from what you guys have heard before. She's going to be asking me a few questions in regards to my book. My book is out. The name is Parents Are Greatest Teachers. It's on sale on Amazon. It actually, yesterday, it hit #1 bestseller. So we're super excited. Yay! You can grab your copy. You can get the paperback or the ebook. Is actually on sale. Hopefully when you listen this podcast, it's still on sale. You can always DM me, or if you have any questions about the book, you can always DM me on social media. But anyways, yes, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have never done a podcast, so I should start this conversation by saying that. So if I sound all over the place, it's because I have never interviewed or been interviewed, unless it was for like a high school project. So
there's always a first time.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's see. I guess we can just jump right into this.
Yeah? Yes.
All right. So we can start with, where did you get the idea to write a book?
Yes. So I've always wanted to write a book. It's been one of my awesome dreams, I guess. And I've always I'm a writer from very little. I always like to write notes, write cards for everyone, write everything that I wanted to write. I've always, since I was very little. And I always picture myself as a writer. I didn't know what I was going to write about. And when I started doing this project, I actually wanted to write a book, a memoir just about my dad. He actually, he passed away when he was very young, as I mentioned in my actual book now. But this book that I had in mind was more of talking about his journey and his illness. He passed away of stomach cancer. And as we all know, cancer is like super common now. People get cancer left and right, which is very unfortunately. And as a holistic practitioner, I wanted to show a little bit of that side and all the things that you can do to actually help and maybe not cure. I don't want to say cure, but there's a lot of alternative methods that people that are ill can do to make things better. Eat healthier, drink alkaline water, do some treatment for pain like acupuncture, herbal medicine, and things like that. So when I started to think about writing a book, I wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, my plans shift a little bit. Mm-hmm. As we all know, the world it's ruled by big pharma and all these things, which I'm not going to get into. But as they do that, they also have a saying within, or TV, radio, and books, and that's something that I find out as I was trying to write this book. And so when I realized that I could actually get banned to write things like that. I don't want it to go through that, since this is my first book. I wanted to make it a little smoother and easier for me to write a book. So one of my mentors said, why don't you just still write about your dad, but something else? And then one day it just came to me, and I thought about what was important for me. And now at this point in my life, it was very important to acknowledge not only my parents, which, as the book title says, parents are greatest teachers. I wanted to write this book for all my mentors. So long story short, that's how this book came about. And it is a big accomplishment, and I'm so proud of it. And
it's huge. Not that many people get to I think most people don't get to say that they wrote a book, let alone a bestseller on Amazon. So that's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
It's funny because you do, for as many years as I've known you now, you've come up with some pretty crazy ideas. And you come up with a lot of ideas. I mean, just the reels in your mind are constantly turning, and you're always thinking of things. There's an innovator in there that wants to, like, we can do this and we can do that and we should try this. And so when you told me that you were thinking of writing a book, I'll be honest, I was like, sure. Of course you are, and then, I was like, all right, well, we'll wait and see if this book comes to fruition. And it did. You actually, I think you started in the summer.
Yeah, I started in the summer.
And it hasn't even been a whole year. We're not even to next summer yet. And you literally wrote this book, got it published, and it's out there now, selling on barnesandnoble.com and Amazon, and you can get your hard copies. So that's amazing. Congratulations again. I'll probably say it like 1,000 times because I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
So something that I loved in the book is the quotes that you have just kind of scattered throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I am somebody who is really inspired by little things like that. Sometimes just a little sentence, a few words can really get you thinking, and can really impact you. There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. I think you have many untold stories, and I think this is one of many books that you'll write. It's a really great story. I loved the little snippets at the end. Everyone else kind of chimes in with their own experiences. But let me circle back because I have my questions in order. So
yes.
Oh, actually, okay. So let's talk about the nickname that you have for your mom.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. So, for everyone that's listening and have not had the chance to grab your copy of the book, I do. In the book, I have a nickname for my mom, and I call her the General. Like Army General or something like that, because from the point of view of a kid, my mom was very super strict, and she almost was like the bad cop, good cop, bad cop, between her and my dad. And she was kind of like that one very strict person, super, she wanted to everything right, get A's in school, have the nicest hairdo, and always being clean. And not that all of that it's bad or anything like that, but as a younger kid, that's like sometimes like too much for a kid, especially I think as as a little girl, I think moms have a lot of expectations on us. Like you have to have your hair combed and you have like nice ponytail and you have to have your clothes like super iron and like all these things because you are a girl, you are a woman. So they have like these big expectations of you, or so I felt at that moment. And so yeah, I call her the general because she's such a powerful woman that even like when we were like doing a mess in the house, me and my brothers, she will literally just turn her head to us, look at us, say nothing, and we will be like, holy shit, let's get our shit together now or she's gonna come and spank us.
Yeah, it's
quite
the
hard.
look.
Yes.
That's kind of like I don't know. I think I might have a little bit of the general in me. Sometimes, when you have to fill both roles, it comes out, because you feel like you gotta discipline your kids, and how are they going to take you seriously if you're always nice to them? And so it's definitely something that you have to navigate as a parent. So I mean, of course I'm not like, just make sure all your kids are perfect and everything has to be perfect. And that scale of disciplining it's tough to navigate, especially when you grew up with parents that hit you, beat you, or other violent, aggressive forms of discipline versus, talking it out and communicating and finding that, is there a middle? Can we like not choose violence at all and just talk about this? Luckily there's so much more information now, and the tides have changed so much since then. Because I got hit with a belt too, and I got hit with a brush, and parents were mean. Parents were mean in the 80s and the 70s, but they were beaten by their parents, and that it's just this, they taught, it's something you see a lot now, breaking generational curses. That's definitely one of them, is like, all right, I can put a stop to this. And there is, I find in myself, the general wants to come out, and, we
all have a general.
It's hard to tell her, chill, like we don't have to go there, So reading that though, has your mom read the book?
She had. I think, it's kind of sensitive for her because, I'm writing all these about her, not in a bad way or anything. It's just for the point of view of a little girl. And I think now, knowing her story, because as you go in the book, you see why she became the general. And then you really turn those thoughts around, because as a reader, you're like, damn, she was fucking mean. But then, you really read. And I think that's how, like, I lived for 30 years, thinking that she was that person, that she was that general. But going through life and finding out wanting to know who she really was, I think it gave me a very perspective. And now I know she's a sweet woman, super smart, caring, compassionate, and she wants really, at least for me and my brothers, all she wanted when she was like that general, it was for us to be good and to have a good future and to not go through all those struggles that she did when she was younger. And so I think, as you said, you saw yourself a little bit in her. And obviously no one is advocating for violence, because that's not the way to go with the kids.
Right.
But it shows you that the the ways, the old ways, it was not because they were wanting to be mean with their kids or anything. That was just what they knew.
Yeah.
And what they, people are going to do what they know. And once you break up that, you a little bit, like you said, you got hit, you don't want to hit your kid because it was not a great experience. So, and it's not a way.
Honestly, it wasn't entirely effective either. I mean, I was scared,
Yeah.
but it didn't stop me from being
doing
traviesa and doing stuff again,
Yeah.
And remembering that and like reflecting on that. And this entire book, it does make you do that. You peel back layers. You watch, in the book we watch you peel back layers, and you go back not one but two generations, and even three, and you're like, yeah, it's just this repeating cycle of this is why she was like this. And it's such a huge like eye-opening and can be very mind-blowing experience when you do go back in history, and when you start to ask these questions, and when you start to get answers, and you're like, oh man, this makes so much sense. It's very enlightening, and can also bring a lot of closure and peace, when you realize like they weren't so bad after all, and it wasn't that they wanted to hurt me. They were hurt. And, I think I've seen that quote many times, hurt people. And it's true, like there's, if you don't work through the issues and you don't get therapy, you don't have coping skills, and you don't know how to stop the cycle, it just continues and it'll go on and on.
Yeah.
Is your mom at all still the general?
Great question. She is actually, but obviously I see her in different ways now. Before, as a younger kid, as you said, you have this like fear from your parents, they're gonna hit you or they're gonna get super upset, and you're gonna have like not just an hour of timeout, but a whole month of you don't get this or whatever. Now I see it different. Now she's not as like commending, I will say. She will just comment on my life, and I hear it. There's our parents, we will always be their kids for them. And if I do certain things that she doesn't agree with, she will let me know. But now it's different. I think now we came to different understandings where we can actually have a conversation about it. And I don't agree with everything she believes. She doesn't agree with everything I believe, but I think we have this understanding that we're two different individuals and we respect that. So I think that's a really good thing. And I just wanted to comment on what you were saying about our parents and going back and peeling layers. I feel like some people are very like afraid to do that because they might be like, it's not worth it to even like go back. I'm just gonna move on. But I think from what I have experienced and from what I have learned, I think in order to move on, you have to acknowledge what has happened. So if you think that, well, this and this happened to me, or and not even your parents, but someone else could have hurt you, and you're like, I'm just moving on, I don't care. That's, from my experience, that's not like the best approach, because you will still carrying that back with you forever, as opposed to looking at the back and be like, okay, I acknowledge you, I learned from you, and I'm gonna leave this little bag here. Now I can move on. So just like a little tip out there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good tip. Something that I wanted to touch on was when your mom shared her story about what happened with her, with your dad's family, that must have been a profound moment in your relationship with her. Do you want to touch on that at all?
Yes, we're giving a lot about the book here.
Yeah, we won't we won't say what happened, but we'll just sort of touch on it.
Yeah, yes, let's do that. So people that are curious about what happened to my mom, they have to go grab their copy,
yeah,
and find out. Anyways, so yeah, so there's in part of her story and part of the book, there's something very, very traumatic that happened to my mother. And until last year, so pretty much she kept this secret for like, I don't know, I want to say maybe like 40 years, because that happened before I was born. So maybe like 41 years. So she kept this secret for, 40-ish years. And in just a casual conversation, we were talking about it, and it kind of, I don't know if it slipped from her mouth or she really needed to tell someone.
Yeah.
And so I guess when our parents tell us those type of secrets or something that they've been carrying for so long, and listening to her telling me, it was really intense, because, as you said, I see my mom as a general. You see this one person that never breaks. She's super freaking strong and amazing and all this. And here you are, your parent is telling you something that happened to them that really hurt them, that really changed their lives. And nobody knew, nobody helped her, nobody was there to comfort her. So it was very impacting and surprising that happened to her, knowing that she's very strong. And I think it gave me an idea of that we're not, we're still humans, we still feel. And even those people that you think are like the strongest persons or happiest persons in the world, things happen to them. So it was pretty shocking for me to see my mother so vulnerable and to tell me her story. So I think it's that make me a little bit more compassionate towards her. And I feel like as children, as their kids, we sometimes don't ask enough questions. And I think that's what we were like talking off air yesterday. That we wish we could ask more questions to our parents, especially to our parents that are gone already. My dad passed away when he was pretty young, years too. And now at our age, we wander around like, what, how did they go about life? What was their first kiss like? Who did they admire? Who did they look up to? What was their, what did they make them cry? What did they make them laugh? Like a lot of very small questions, but big for our souls, I guess. So,
yeah. I after my dad passed, my mom and I got really close. And I mean, even though I was taking care of her as her caregiver, it really pushed us together, and I remember telling her, like, you can't leave me. Like, I'm going to need you to stick around for a while, because I just can't lose all my parents at once, and we would have nights where we would go outside, like during the summer. I would wheel her out there. I'd put a blanket on her, and we would just talk in the dark. We would look at the stars. We would have milk and cookies, like just really special, moments like that. And that was when I had started to really ask questions, tell me about you. She was a really private person and didn't really care to open up too much. But she would open up about herself. You know, she would talk about her relationships and her relationship with my dad. And
I can tell you a word.
yes.
I heard my iPad said humans can swallow hairballs too.
Oh no, humans cannot swallow hairballs. That's just cats and dogs.
No.
And that's a quick break from Erika's Kit life.
Okay. All right. All right, maybe we can crop that out.
This is life.
Okay. So yeah, she opened up a lot about a lot of things, and I really got to know her, and it was so nice because I felt all of that time before, you know, she was just mom, and we would we clashed, you know, we butted heads a lot. I would lose my patience, and I would get really frustrated at times because as a caregiver you burn out. But it was those really special little moments where we took time to be together and to talk that shifted the tides and that allowed me to get to know her. And once I got to know her, it made it easier. It made everything easier to be around her. And I started to feel more gratitude for her as my mother and for what she went through. And it was definitely a game changer in our relationship. So important to just, if you have the opportunity to get to know your parents, you know, and sometimes if you can't talk to them, if you can talk to a sibling or you can talk to somebody that's close, you know, that has some information on family history, that always helps. Do you think, switching gears here, do you think your grandma allowing you to live with her when you left your home in Mexico was her way of making it up to your mom?
That's a great question. When I moved to my grandma, I don't know, maybe. I actually never thought about that. But maybe my grandma, it's also like a very strong woman that has gone through so much in life, and she's still going through things in life. And yeah, I mean, now that you put it on that perspective, she did you know, do some stuff for my mom that changed my mother's life. So I guess as an older person, when I asked her if I could move with her, saying yes, yeah, that might have been her way of saying, like, okay, like let me be a different person that I was with your mom. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it happens very often with grandparents where they're just totally different people with their grandkids than they were with their children.
Yeah,
you know,
two different people.
Yeah, it's definitely something I saw with my parents. It's something I've seen with other sets of grandparents, you know, where they live and they learn, and they realize at some point, you know, they did things wrong or they could do things differently, and now it's almost like a second chance to be better, you know, with the next set of kids. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, let me see here. I love the part about you saying no one is alone and how you'd be surprised how many people are willing to help. When I had read that, I had actually just read a thread on, it was like a group on Facebook where a woman's niece was in need of a specific blood transfusion and a liver transplant. And so she took to the internet to beg people for help. And right away, people started responding like, I have this blood type. How do we know if we're eligible to donate? Just ready that instantly to give a literal piece of themselves to save another life. How do you, what do you think about that?
Well, I thought it was important to put that in the book, especially from a person that it took me a long time. I think we were right things for the younger generations to maybe realize things earlier. I realized this, on my late 20s, I think, that I had to learn the importance of receiving and receiving and accepting help from others. And that's a long time, because I had I won't say I had a bad life, but it could have been better. If I could just, knew that I could ask for help, because there's a lot of people that always wants to help you, that always wants to support you. But sometimes we are too closed up in our minds about, no, I could do this on my own. And I don't know if it's like a Latino thing or a pride thing, because that's how we kind of are raised on, this prideful thing of you could do it yourself. But yeah, when I less expected it, one of my coworkers helped me out with financial help without asking, and it was cool to know that even freaking strangers are always there to help you. And this book is actually a very good example of it. I actually, in order for me to launch this book, I had an Indiegogo campaign, and I asked all my friends to help out, and I went over my goal. I went to, I think it was 102% more than it was expected on my campaign. And so it tells me a lot on the power of community. And I think that the students will learn this. The students will learn that we are not alone, and that we have a whole community around us. If we want to, they will be there to support us. So I think it was very important for me for anyone to read the book, to a little reminder, because I feel like we all know that, but we're still on the prideful side of us, no, I'm still good. But, and you might be, and I think I've said it a lot of times in previous interviews, that yes, you could do it, everything that you want, you could do it yourself, but you could do it faster if you have a community with you, and it's easier too. So
yeah, and that definitely applies to so many things. I always think, I mean, just as a mom, I always circle back to that, because they say it takes a village, and it really does.
Yes.
Whatever that village looks like, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whenever you can lean on somebody, and people that have more experience, or that have hand-me-downs, or that just have advice, it makes a huge difference to have that, and it makes your life easier and more efficient.
Yeah, for sure. So much better. Yeah.
This is kind of a funny question.
Yeah.
Do you still consider yourself a runner?
Yes. Once again, listeners, you do have to buy the book. But yes, I do call myself in the book a runner, because I used to run away from things, and not just going for a walk around the block, but literally going around countries running to save my little butt. And I don't consider myself a runner anymore. I think I grew out of that. I think I've learned as I said, I wish I could have learned this earlier, but I think, it also comes with a perfect timing. And even though I learned it later in life, I don't run from things now. I, whatever is happening, whether there is a problem at work, partnership, or with the family or whatever, I felt that now I go straightforward to things. Like, I try to talk them out. I try to have a conversation about it. I try to have some sort of peace within anything that is happening, because the way I see it is that the more I run when I was younger, the heavier my back got.
Mm-hmm.
So it was too much, too much carrying all these feelings, regrets, or hate, or all these negative things that you bring with you when you don't confront and accept, and you're aware of things and have a conversation and all that. So I think I stopped being a runner. I haven't been a runner for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me lighter. It makes me feel happier, and just such a better life
Mm-hmm.
than just running from things. So I do feel a lot more calm, at peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but
Yeah.
it's great. It's great to talk about it.
Yeah. That's what this interview is. We're asking you the questions here.
I know. It's just such a great interviewer.
All right. I don't want to give away too much of the book.
Yeah.
But there is one thing that really stood out to me, and it at the end of the book, you share stories of different people, different ages, different walks of life. And the first story is a perspective of a 15-year-old she's already experienced so much and has yet to experience so much.
Mm-hmm.
She said, quote, "A lot of people make it sound hard, but when you've had to let a lot of people go in your life, it's easier as time goes on." When I read that resonated with me so much. But also, what a profound thought coming from a 15-year-old. It really gives you perspective.
Yeah.
Reading those stories and seeing their responses, how did it make you feel getting this feedback in comparison to what you had already written?
Yeah. So in the book, I have a chapter where I invited a few of my friends to share their stories, and they were kind enough and brave enough to share part of their lives. Sharing part of what happens in your life, it's gonna be probably one of the hardest things ever. And so this young woman, she shares our part of what's happening in her life. And I also have 60 something years old woman, and all, like as you said, they're all different ages, different genders, different backgrounds. And reading all their stories, because all of their stories are so impactful. And I think my thought to share some of other people's stories in my book, I think it was important for people to know, in your life, you're always gonna say, I have the worst life, or this, happened to me, or why this happened to me, or whatever it is that, every individual is going through. But reading other people's stories, it really gives you the perspective of, you're not alone, first of all. Things happen, unfortunately, whether, and I'm not minimizing anything, whether it's sexual abuse, mental abuse, to a very, you know, some sort of other things that might have been traumatic, because I'm not given, you know, like the traumas are traumas for everyone, whether it's very big or very small. And I think just seeing others people's lives and what they go through, it helps us as humans, as community, to know that unfortunately bad things happen, and you know, there's nothing that we can do about it sometimes. But the only thing that we can do for ourselves is, whether it's talking about it, confront what it's going on, being aware, but not holding on to what happens to us, and really continue our lives. I think we have given a life for a reason, and whatever trauma and bad situations happen to us as we're children does not define us. So yeah, I think it's important for all of us to know more about other people in order to be better people to others.
Yeah, definitely. Reading those stories, I think I had mentioned that yesterday. I was like, I mean, I didn't think I had a horrible upbringing, but it seemed like rainbows and butterflies and sunshine compared to some of the stories that I read. And I was like, dang, this is really intense, you know?
This is real life.
So important. Yeah, that was the reality for a lot of the stories, you know. They were intense, reaching out, you know. I don't know if any of this was handpicked, or, you know, if you took, this was all of the stories that you got, or how you chose these, but yeah, they were, you know, some of them of course were beautiful also. It wasn't just a bunch of terrible stories.
Yeah.
But something that I did notice was a running theme was gratitude, you know, for the harsh experiences. At the end of any story, they end up being grateful for what they experienced, you know, because it made them who they were. You know, it even you could tell that they were reflecting as they were writing, which we often do. You know, it's you start to put your thoughts out on paper or on the computer, and as the words come out, you know, you realize like, oh yeah, you know, I guess if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that sense of gratitude, it's so important, because it's what provides that understanding, that closure, you know, that peace that allows you to move forward. Like you were saying, that little tiny bag, you have it, and now you can just sort of leave it there and pick up onto the next chapter. And I noticed too, the villain turned rock star grandparents who seem to, you know, they take in and they take care of the grandchildren. On that note, it was something that I had made in my notes here. Do you think it's out of guilt or love that they raise their grandkids?
I think definitely love. I think especially when, I mean, tragic things happen in life, and when your kids passed away and you see your grandkids there, I think you know, that's what they do. That's what they do out of love. I will think, or I wish to think, that all grandparents that suddenly start taking care of their grandkids, you know, it's almost like they've been given this a new opportunity to even be better. I feel like it's great for the grandkids to be taken care of from their grandparents, but I think the ones that end up learning the most will be their grandparents, and you know, being better at it, I guess. Yeah, but it's cool. And then I like that you talk about the guest stories, as you mentioned, they're now all dead. But I did wanted to show, and by the way, it's not like I had 100 guests and I picked the stories. I just want to put that out there. It was actually, I think I was called, you know, on this, for someone in this universe put these little, all these names in my head and was like, you should ask him, her, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of the people that I wanted to be in the book said no. And that's very respectful. As I said, sharing part of your life, it's a very brave thing, especially when, who knows is gonna read this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that say yes, some of the stories we show, some of them are like great stories, and I wanted to show that life could be everything. And so I think sharing all stories was a really great thing for me and for the book.
Yeah. Sorry, let me look at this, my little notes here. So I noted here, I think this cycle of abuse and redemption is extremely common across all cultures and classes, and you could see that in those stories. It really is,
we're all humans. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you were born, whether it was Vietnam, Russia, Mexico, US, Europe, Africa, anywhere. I think we all go through basically the same things. We're, as you said yesterday, we're more alike than anything else.
Yeah. I guess we can sort of close it out here, because I don't want to give away the entire book. But it's a great read. It was a quick read.
Yes, it's a short book.
Very thought-provoking. I read it and I like that I could pick it up and read it again anytime, and it's not gonna take me days to get through it. So what do you want people to take away from this read, from this book?
Yes. My main thing for everyone to, I guess, take from the book, it was, my intention was to shine a light on all these mentors that repeatedly I said, whether they're good, bad, whether they're your parents, whether they're the neighbors, people that you know or you don't know their names. I think it's important to acknowledge that we all change each other's lives for the better or the worst. And I think shining a light on all of our mentors was really important. And I think just in general for everyone to think about who has changed your life and how they changed you, gives you that opportunity to move forward with your life and to keep on changing others people's lives. So I think that's like my main thing for everyone to take from the book, to gain a better perception on their lives and know that life is what you want it to be.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you did an amazing job with this book. I'm very excited for you. Everybody grab the book. It's on Kindle, on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble. And give it a read for sure. It'll be a quick, easy read, but something that I think everyone could definitely use, especially if you're in a place where you're reflecting about, your life and why things are the way they are. It's a really good way to prompt yourself to think a little bit deeper.
Awesome. And I want to thank you for being here today and, reading my book and help me out in life in general.
Yeah.
You are a big part of why I'm here. I'm not gonna get emotional, but thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
Cry.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening today. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview, and I hope you guys can get the book. It's an amazing book. As I said, you can find it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's on an ebook. So if you're a Kindle lover, you can definitely get that for you. If you need to know anything else about me on my show, you can find me on alexbalgood.com on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and everywhere. And also, if you want to keep on sharing your stories, DM me, send me a message, let me know what you think about the book. Also, if you get a chance and if you can write me a review on Amazon, that will be super, super cool. So anyways, thank you everyone for being here today and have a blessed day. Bye.